as we speak right now in this wide-ranging case, prosecutors at the state and federal level are still arguing over where to first prosecute these two suspects in Alabama, Virginia, and Louisiana. The death penalty could be applied to 17-year-old Lee Malvo. That is not the case in Maryland. Yeah. So there is this huge tug-of-war about where to try these cases. It's all part of what you're pointing out. Continues to be this tension that exists right now. Okay, well, I certainly hope they don't disrupt interrogations in the process. NBC's Michael Williams, thanks very much. And Ted and Pat, we're going to see you back here after this short break. Now, a heads up to you at home. Watch your screen carefully as we go to break. Up next, find out just how good an eyewitness you are and whether your account would help or hurt an investigation. How many times did we hear about the white van during the month-long sniper story? Well, so much for that rumor. It became a reality in a lot of people's minds. Well, in just a moment, we're going to meet an expert in eyewitness identification and misidentification and hear how the wrong information can really mess up an investigation. First, a few questions about the video we showed you before the break. What color jacket was the thief wearing? What color hair did he have? Did he use his left or right hand? Okay, the answers, well, take another look. The jacket was bluish, his hair light brown, and he used his left hand. Slowly creeping in there. Come on, left hand. All right. Tonight's 13th Juror question asks how reliable you think eyewitness accounts really are. And register your vote at courttv.com or AOL keyword CourtTV. Joining me now, an expert in eyewitness identification, Brooklyn Law School professor Daniel Medwood. Still here, criminal profiler Pat Brown and former homicide detective Ted Williams. Okay, Professor, I want to start with a soundbite from Nancy Demme. She's a Montgomery County Sheriff's Department spokesperson, and then get your reaction.
There are a couple people who saw what they believe they saw a man shoot. Unfortunately, distance and darkness and perhaps adrenaline have made them unable to give us a clear composite that we can disseminate.
I think a lot of people were frustrated, Professor, when they heard that there were descriptions. There were eyewitnesses out there, and the cops weren't giving us a picture. They weren't putting out something for us to look at, but that was a wise move on their part, wasn't it?
I think that's right, Catherine. Unfortunately, this is just a new footnote to a very old story about how mistaken identifications often contribute to problems in the criminal justice system. And oftentimes it comes from an array of factors. Of course, there are the obvious situational factors. Crimes happen very rapidly under difficult, stressful circumstances, often in poor physical conditions. Then adding to that, of course, are the witness-specific factors, the proverbial blind as a bat witness or a child witness. But on top of that, I think what's most interesting is even the most attentive, observant, and detail-oriented person, the Mensa card-carrying bird watcher, can make a mistake due to the way that memory plays a role in this process.
And of course, this was all the long-distance actions. People, even in Alabama and elsewhere, cops were chasing these two. And still, you had questions about the identification. You talk about how much trouble this can cause in court. We're looking a lot at forensics nowadays, DNA. Do you feel that eyewitness testimony is naturally suspect?
I think it is, Catherine. I think there are two movements, two areas for reform right now that are going on. First of all, there are problems with the way that lineups and photo arrays are conducted. Traditionally, they're conducted with groups. You'll show a photo array of 6 photographs.
So they're supposed to be somewhat similar.
Somewhat similar, exactly. But what happens then is that the witness does a comparative or relative judgment process, and they select the person who most closely resembles the perpetrator, but who may not in fact be the actual perpetrator. So one room for reform here is to adopt a sequential photo array or a sequential lineup in which the examiner will present one suspect at a time.
Yes or no,
yes or no, yes or no. And the studies have indicated that that will reduce the problems of inaccurate identification by as much as 50% with a neutral or no impact whatsoever on the number of accurate ones.